So angel morphism. So where we were at before, what I was sharing with people, because I think I still have that document pulled up. Let me look at all my windows here so I can figure out and pull it up. Here we go. Okay. So here's that list that I was showing before, and taking it through the whole game,
right. Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I watched it.
Yep. And so I wound up, we were talking about the queen and angel and messenger, prophet, priest, teacher. And so I decided, I don't even know why. Sometimes I just get led to look up things, and then I don't understand why I'm led to look up into them, but then they connect. I'm like, oh my gosh, I just blew my own mind. So it's funny how that works that way. So I'll show you the scripture I was looking at. And it was Genesis 2:2. Now again, so Genesis 2:2, the 22 numbers, connecting to what like Dabu was saying with the 22 occurrences this year and all of that kind of stuff. And this is the one that has to do with the seventh day of rest. Because there was something I was looking at about the number 7 being divine perfection. Oh, I know what it was. I was editing something for Ken, and we were talking about the number 7 and it being divine perfection. And I thought, well, I should probably use that as a reference of why the number 7 is connected to divine perfection. And it has to do with the creation week, right? So on the 7th day.
Well, I've had somebody explain that to me, and I've kind of adopted it because it made total sense to me, is that it is the physical, the lower narrative completion. And then 9 is the higher.
Yes.
And there's other numbers too.
So
but the 7 is just a completion for the lower narrative, the more physical aspects of things.
But I do see how it's connected to divine spiritual perfection, because what we're looking at right here, and it's through the Hebrew perspective. So we're talking about the Elohim. And when I was looking at that made man a little lower, right, than the angels, the word was Elohim, that we were created as we came in here, we were lacking, but we were the Elohim. And so this is connecting. So the 7th day of the creation week, again, symbolic creation week, was ended God on the 7th day from his work, which he had done. Well, it made me stop and think on that, because I'm like, okay, so I'm connecting to what was shared before with angel morphism in the process of our becoming and understanding this. And the word yakal, if you remember, that was one of the words that was being showed, and it meant to be able, to be, or to be able, may happen. It just depends. But it was because it was the given of the yod. Well, this word in its root, can you see this screen here? Is it still showing you? Okay.
Yeah.
So here's the word kala, which is also the same word for bride. So if I'm skipping through the letters so that we can see, so you can just, there we go. We have the bride right there.
Yes.
So this word, the very beginning of the word for completion, has to do with the bride. And so many times you will hear Ken even say that, peace, peace, and then sudden destruction. They say, so destruction will come, right? Well, it's because we've completed our journey. We've completed what we've needed to do here, because we are at the place where we are finishing our work. And it's the finishing work of the bride. So she's been given the power to complete herself, because the Kaf Lamed means whole and entirety, wholeness and full, and it's Elohim. So there was a vision given to her. And again, the bride had the hay on the end of it, but then there was the becoming of the Elohim in the day. And this is Bayom. So again, if people aren't digging into the language, they're not going to see this. They're just going to read the day, and they're going to think that it's the same word all the time. But this has a bet in front of it. So it's in the day of building love, Bet Tov. And it's a double yod here. So these are two visions that have become one. So you got the vision of mother and you got the vision of father in the day of building. So it's a season and a time that is allowed for the Elohim to build love. And then we have the word, the 7. But this word, when you look into it, it also means to satiate, to be filled and satisfied. Same letters, Shin, Bet, Ayin. But in this one, the way it's morphed, we have the 2 yods, and then we have the Ayin in the middle of it. And Ken has been stressing the importance. In fact, a video I'm going to be releasing today is stressing the importance of the Ayin as the fountain of living waters that's within us, our knowing that once we get that, and the only way that we can get that is a presentation of the 2 visions of mother and father to give you that inside knowing, right? And it's for those people who have shuved, turned, that are married, and they were given revelation to make this happen. And 7 again, with the divine spiritual perfection of the bride who is becoming Elohim because she's built love. That's the whole reason why we're here, right? We were here, we fell into love, we have to find it, and we have to mature it. And perfection of love casts out all fear. Then here's that word, malak, messenger. And that's what I was finding so profound. I was like, oh my gosh, this verse connects to what I was sharing with about the work of the pastor, or not the pastor, the prophet, priest, angel, messenger, and what we were sharing with before with the angel morphism.
Yeah.
And then rested, yeshav, going down here a little bit further. This means to rest, to settle, to marry. And it has the mark of the unconditional love on the suffix side of picking that of father. And then we have Bayom again, on the day of the 7th, to be satiated and to be full. And now we have this completed because the word kol, which means whole and all, has the dagesh in the kaf. So you're completely filled. So you've taken your vessel, you've opened your hand, you can say your chalice or your cup, you filled it completely. And it's just the way I see now. This word, when you look at it, it's mem lamed that has a kaf in the middle of it. So mem lamed is symbolic of mellifluous, of honey. It also means mala, to fill, and it's your cup. The center of your being has been completely filled. Hence why you're able to rest from all of your work. Because what is our work? What are we trying to accomplish? Tavav, to be marked with unconditional love, so that we can be an angel messenger, a prophet, a priest, a teacher, because we've become it. And then again, Asher, which we know means to be happy and have fortune, is part of Asherah in our process of becoming from the work that we've done. So this is like the eye of fire, or seeing the fire, the purpose that reveals what is necessary for us to complete our work so that we can rest.
Yeah.
So it's all symbolic of what we are doing in the process of becoming as Elohim. And the only other thing that I wanted to connect to it is the Tavav. This is huge because of the mark of the beast, the mark of the Kayutha, and connecting it with things that have already been written in Ezekiel 9:4. This is the one where they mark everyone on their foreheads. And I don't know if you remember this passage in Ezekiel where the writer with the inkhorn at his side goes through and marks everybody who sigh and cry. Well, very interesting that it starts out and it says to go. It says to go. I'm showing that right here. But the way it was written is to. It's Aleph Lamed Vav, but they wrote it, or they speak it out as Aleph Lamed Yod Vav, but that's not how it was written. It is the L's, the strong leader teaching shepherds, that are in meekness, and then it's the word go, which is the word to cross over, Eber. So those who have the eyes to see how to spiritually build love to raise themselves up to be the first fruit leaders. And then it's bar, which means an heir to the throne. And they go through the midst of the city. We have Tav Vav right here. I'm going somewhere with this.
Mm-hmm.
Go through the midst, those who have built love, that have emptied out their cup, that are marked, Tav Vav, on the inside, that have roused themselves awake. That's what the root of city means. It's those who have roused themselves awake, because revelation came to them and they stirred themselves up, and they're in the midst. There's that word again. They built love, bet Tav. They emptied out their cup. They were marked on the inside, and it's Jerusalem. And we've shared many times about that. You know, Yara Shalom, Jerusalem, those who teach the way of peace. And then it's the word put.
Mm-hmm.
Now, put is to mark or set a mark. And I'll pull that up here so we can take a look at it. It's not taking too long. Here is the root of the word mark, and it has a hey on the end of it. It's tav hey. So mark those who have the revelation of the Father's covenant, to set a mark on those that have his revelation, his teaching. And then we have the word foreheads, and it has vav tav. So they've connected to Father. They have the frequency of unconditional love. And the word for anash here, this root word means to be weak and feeble. So remember when I was sharing about that the heart is feeble? It's not wicked. It's a feeble heart. So these people were weak and feeble. There's the diamond above the sheen, which speaks of quadration. And I explained that when we were going over the 144,000.
Yeah.
There's the word fire that has a noon in the middle of it. So these men, or these beings that were once weak and feeble, are of fire in the center of their being, because they took the spiritual path that they found within them, noon, to propagate life, the seed of life that would bring forth life in them, so that they could be quadrated and be a gift from God. And how did they do it? Well, there was a revelation that came from Mother, and they went through the waters where they completed it, Yam, which is a reference to the goddess of the sea, which is Asherah, that is seated at the right hand, that is of righteousness. And then the sighing and crying, I'm getting here, to sigh and groan. I think it's interesting because this word, it's a knock. So it's a brother, because it's Ok, that's got the spiritual path on the inside. So these people are sighing and crying about everything that's going on in the world, because they see the spiritual path within them. They found it, and they're looking around, and all these other people haven't found it. And it deeply grieves them. It's just like, go inside. It's in there. It's in there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's those people that are marked, because there's the word. There's mark. The mark upon the ones who have ascended, Ein Lamed. They were able to see the fountain of the deep within. The teaching shepherd came and taught them the ways of Mother and Father, the living waters. And they went through the door of their inner man to be able to find the revelation that was needed, so that they could fill up being connected with the Father in the power of meekness and be marked in his sine wave signature frequency. So when people are talking about the mark, it is right here, Tavav. So if we go back to Genesis 2:2, there's the Tavav on the end of the word Malach, the work. The work of the angel messengers that are the prophets, the priests, and the teachers is to be able to teach the way to be marked, which is the completion of the work, in which you found it as Elohim. because you built yourself and you've been completely satiated, you've been filled up, and now you carry the mark. And you're happy and fortunate, and fire rests on top of your head because you are a sovereign first fruit leader as a seraphim. That is the completion of our work. I don't know if you were able to follow that, but it was just dot connecting for me to be able to
it was
take
kind
it
of an
to being
extension of
marked,
what,
because everybody freaked out about the mark of the beast, but it's this mark that we want, because this is what the Kayutha have. You know, they have a Vav Tav, Kayutha, Kai, living, Vav, Tav, Aleph. They're filled up, they're connected to the Father, they have the mark of unconditional love, and they have the Christ consciousness. Well, this is showing you this is the work of the Elohim. And once we receive that mark, we're finished. That's why we can enter rest. And that's what the Sabbath was all about. The Sabbath is the place where you find love and build love. Because when we've talked about that before, turn, find, seek, build love. Shabbat. Shabbat.
Yeah, wow.
So once you've built love, you're in rest. That's the whole purpose of the Sabbath. So when it says that they will be entering into rest and ceasing from their labor, it's because it's the process of angel morphism, because they received the mark. They've completed their journey. That is fantastic. Oh, I just got goosebumps on my legs. Anyway, so that's what I wanted to share, to just kind of land the plane on that. It was just kind of like the little exclamation point, like, you want another one? Here's another one for you to reference. I was like, oh, good. I like that. Having another witness show up that I just happened to be led to this morning, because it was a 22, because of that video I saw and I posted of Dabu 7.
Yeah, Ken has said a couple things referring to the Sabbath where it's, you know, more of a, as we become completed beings, that is the true entering into the rest Sabbath. Yeah. That it's another spiritual picture, you know. And it's okay to play it out physically, but it isn't about the physical. It's about the spiritual.
Well, and you know what? We needed it, though. We needed it in the natural, because it was a day that was set aside for us purposely and specifically to seek the Father.
Yeah.
And even in the word, when you look at it, for those who would turn, they would end up finding unconditional love and figure out how to build it. The consuming love. Because that's what it is. It's Sheen Bet, the consuming house of love, who has built love through the 222, connecting it back to Bereshit. And so I remember the first time I looked at that word, Shabbat, and I saw the Tav on the end, and I saw when I rooted it out, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's the whole purpose of Shabbat, is to find the Father's covenant. And so anybody that begins to look and take that journey of Sabbath is automatically going to be led there. But they have to do it in the natural first before the spiritual can happen, to set everything aside and say, I am taking one day and I'm setting everything aside to find the Father's love. Because if you seek me, you will find me. If you seek me with all of your heart, quadration, a wholehearted one, and then you will complete your work in one celestial cycle, because you found sovereign love. It's so fantastic. Oh, it just, when you get the revelation like that, it's like, it doesn't matter what's going on in the world. It makes no difference, because I found it.
Yeah.
And I can rest in it.
It
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who's president. It doesn't matter if the world goes to war. It doesn't matter if the monetary system falls apart. It doesn't matter all these movements and people and their anger and all that, because I can be in the place of rest, seventh day rest, because I found it, and I'm living in that. And that's why everything in the outside world looks so foreign. I mean, we went grocery shopping yesterday just to make sure, because we didn't know how crazy the outside world was going to be. We love our little place of shalom that we built, but we still are in the midst of the craziness. It's like, well, and going outside again, I just look around and go, I don't even know how to attach myself to this anymore, because it just doesn't, it feels fake. It doesn't even feel real. It's like the Truman story or the Truman Show. Walking around, this isn't not my reality. What is this all about? And this is a tangible place that you get to. This isn't me just talking about it hypothetically. It is a tangible, sustainable place that when you find it, you enter into rest. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. And I wish it for everyone. I just want to run up and hug everybody and go, no, there's a better way. Just come, just you in it. But it's like, some people just aren't ready, and that's okay. It's okay. But I do wish it for everyone, and we will get there.